What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com.
Here are my DFS picks for MLB playoffs Thursday, October 1st.
These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button
And hit that bell icon.
so you don't miss our new videos.
In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for today's MLB slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay guys, MLB playoffs. So we struck out with our picks yesterday. We were on a nice run for a little while there. It's MLB. It's very volatile. It happens. Let's move on to today. So at pitcher, I like Yu Darvish with a 3% pitching advantage over a low salary batting team, the Miami Marlins. Yu Darvish, he pitches his best ball versus righty batters, only giving up a .571 OPS versus righties. And he's facing 5 righties here tonight. On top of that, the Marlins have only hit 9 of his last 41 pitches, batting a .220 batting average. He's $11,000 FanDuel salary and $1,300 less on DraftKings. He's averaging 45 fantasy points per game on the season. He scored 46, 33, and 37 fantasy points in the last 3 games. He has an ERA of 2.01. His record is 8-3 on the season, pitching 96 pitches per game. So I like Yu Darvish here versus the Miami Marlins. Okay, let's take a look at the catcher position. I like Yasmani Grandal with a 70% batting advantage over a low salary pitcher, Sean Manaea. Yasmani Grandal bats 15% better versus lefty pitchers. He's batting a .916 OPS versus lefties. And Sean Manaea, he pitches his worst ball by far to switch hitters. 55% worse than his other pitches, giving up a .317 OPS versus switch hitters. Grandal is $3,000 FanDuel salary and $1,200 more on DraftKings. He's averaging 10 fantasy points per game on the season, and he's been on fire, scoring 32, 19, and 32 fantasy points in the last 3 games, projected at 14.3 fantasy points here tonight. So I like Yasmani Grandal here versus Sean Manaea. Okay, who do we have at the second base position? Hard to find a good second base play here tonight. So, you could go Mike Moustakas, who's hitting better versus righties. He's batting a .846 OPS versus righties. But Ian Anderson pitches a pretty good ball versus lefties. But I actually might go Mike Moustakas here. But if you've got the salary, take a look at Ozzie Albies with a 14% batting advantage over Luis Castillo. Ozzie Albies, he's batting a little bit better versus righty pitchers, batting a .814 OPS versus righties. And Luis Castillo throws his worst ball versus switch hitters, giving up a .734 OPS versus switch hitters. He's 1 for 2 versus Castillo with a 1.5 OPS. He's $3,900 FanDuel salary and $1,000 more on DraftKings, averaging 12 fantasy points per game on the season. He scored 9, 3, and 0 fantasy points in the last 3 games. So I like Ozzie Albies here versus Luis Castillo. But Mike Moustakas is $800 less, so that's why I'm looking to go for Mike Moustakas if you need to save some salary. But let's move on to the third base position.
Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. The tools are all about saving research time. You can see the last 3 games, the fantasy points per game, the targets they got per game so you can see how involved they are in the offense, the rushes they got per game. Seeing all this stuff on one screen helps you save time and make better picks. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups.
Okay, at the third base position, I like Tommy La Stella with a 39% batting advantage over a low-salary pitcher, Dane Dunning. Tommy La Stella is batting 27% better versus righty pitchers. He's batting a .892 OPS versus righties. And Dane Dunning throws 12% worse to lefties than he does righties, giving up a .512 OPS versus lefties. There's no at-bats versus Dunning yet. La Stella is $3,000 FanDuel salary and $800 more on DraftKings. He's averaging 10 fantasy points per game on the season, scoring 6, 3, and 12 fantasy points in his last 3 games, projected at 13.1 fantasy points here tonight. So I like Tommy La Stella here versus Dane Dunning. Okay, let's take a look at the shortstop position. I'm going to pay up here. I like Corey Seager with a 30% batting advantage over Brandon Woodruff. Corey Seager is batting 18% better versus righty pitchers. He's batting a .934 OPS versus righties. And Brandon Woodruff, he's throwing his worst ball versus lefty batters. 12% worse than his pitch to righties, giving up a .671 OPS versus lefties. Seager is 2 for 3 with a 2 OPS versus Woodruff. He's $4,300 FanDuel salary and $1,100 more on DraftKings. He's averaging 13 fantasy points per game on the season. He scored 25, 0, and 0 fantasy points in the last 3 games. But I like Corey Seager here versus Brandon Woodruff. Okay, moving on to the outfield position. I like Ian Happ with a 39% batting advantage over Sixto Sanchez. Ian Happ, he's batting 20% better versus righty pitchers, batting a .921 OPS versus righties. And Sixto Sanchez throws his worst ball versus switch hitters, giving up a .760 OPS versus switch hitters. There's no at-bats versus Sanchez yet, and he's $3,200 FanDuel salary and $800 more on DraftKings. He's averaging 10 fantasy points per game on the season, scored 22, 9, and 6 fantasy points in the last 3 games, projected at 10 fantasy points here tonight. So I like Ian Happ here versus Sixto Sanchez.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smickety smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this MLB slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again and good luck.